Once a star fell from the sky. With a bright flash it flew down and slashed through the shamrock of the yurt, standing at the foot of the mountain. The yurt was filled with a wonderful light, and in a moment was again plunged into darkness. Morning came. My mother opened the door and let in a ray of morning light that crept up on Armand. This was the name of the boy sleeping in the yurt, and stroked his hand. Armand wanted to turn to the side and finish the wonderful morning dream, but he felt something in his hand. He opened his eyes and looked at the palm of his hand. It was an ordinary seed. It lay against Armand's palm. Armand came out of the yurt and saw his mother baking fluffy cakes. "Good morning, mother," Armand shouted, running up to her. "Good morning, son," the mother replied and hugged her son. "And I have this." Armand opened his fist and showed the seed. "If you plant it, it will grow a large and beautiful sunflower," my mother told us. Armand found a suitable place near the yurt, dug a hole, put a seed there, and sprinkled it with earth. Suddenly, a cold wind blew from the valley. Armand looked back and saw the strange horseman heading towards the yurt. Heavy leaden clouds followed the riders across the sky. Armand's parents also saw the riders and watched their approach with alarm. The uninvited guests seemed very ominous. Their evil appearance was crowned by a wolf's head mounted on a pole at one of them. Near the yurt, they reined in their horses and unceremoniously addressed Armand's parents. "A star has fallen into your yurt tonight, and if you give it to us, we will not touch you," said the chief of the horsemen. "We don't have any stars. Go your own way," Armand's father replied. I didn't like the answer of the rider, and then the villains decided to take the treasure by force. Before Armand's father could recover, the villainous arcane gripped his hands tightly. With another rope, the riders tied my mother and then began to search in the yurt for the fallen star. Robbers searched for the treasure for a long time, turned everything upside down, but they didn't find anything, and then they decided to take Armand's parents into slavery, and now Armand was all alone. He took a flatbread that his mother baked and went to find his parents. Armand walked for a long time until he found himself in a large dense forest. The path that led him into the forest was getting narrower and narrower, and the forest was getting thicker. Meanwhile, the sun sank below the horizon and night fell. The forest was filled with night noises and the cries of unknown birds. And in the hollow of a broken tree, terrible eyes appeared. Armand got scared and ran away from the terrible eyes. He fell down and began to cry. And suddenly someone snorted in the bushes. "Who is there?" Armand asked, wiping away his tears. And in the clearing, there were small forest inhabitants. They were wondering what brought such a small boy to the forest thicket and why he was crying. Seeing the curious animals, Armand stopped crying. I took out my mother's flatbread and gave it to the little forest dwellers. Armand told them his story, and the animals promised to help him. In the morning, they set Armand on his mother's handkerchief, and the birds lifted Armand high into the sky, so high that the huge trees seemed small. And finally, Armand saw the golden eagle sitting on a high rock. "I know what brought you to me," the eagle turned to Armand. "Take this magic stone. It will help you free your parents, and I will take you to them," said the eagle. "Is this the treasure that everyone is looking for?" Armand asked. "No, it's just a magic stone, but the real treasure that everyone is looking for is a seed which you planted next to the yurt, but the riders don't know about it," said the eagle. While they were flying, the eagle told about the seed from which he would then grow a magic sunflower, which would bring happiness to people. Meanwhile, the horseman's camp appeared. The eagle circled and landed on the ground. Armand saw his parents tied to the trunk of a dead tree and ran to them. Finally, the stone exploded and it turned out that the villains disappeared as if they were not there. Armand found the magic stone and went with his parents to the mountains. When they returned home, they put the yurt in order and lived as usual. My father tended the sheep and my mother did the housework. Armand played his favorite games and of course helped his parents. One day, a blind old woman appeared on the doorstep with a little girl. The old woman asked to spend the night and Armand's parents invited the travelers to the yurt. "Grave and need have brought us to your doorstep because we have no relatives or friends. Our whole village was burned by foreigners. My granddaughter and I were the only survivors. So we wandered in search of shelter and food. Thank God the world is not without good people." Dad and Mom and Armand exchanged glances and decided to offer the old lady to stay with them, and they happily agreed. Armand gave them his precious stone because probably this magic stone will bring happiness to them. And the old woman touched the stone. The stone flashed blue and a miracle happened. Your vision was back. From happiness, the grandmother and granddaughter hugged each other tightly. But the miracle didn't end there. In the summer, sunny time, Armand and the girl ran to where they planted the seed. Oh, a miracle! In the same place grew a huge, beautiful sun-like sunflower. The sunflower spread its golden petals, giving hope, joy, and happiness to all people living on earth.